Hey Joe, how you doing? I guess you could hear me. Where were you last night, Joe? Hopefully you had a gig. Okay, I'm gonna do some. I guess you could hear me. I got a call from somebody today. It was a former student who I taught I started teaching him in 1968. He calls, he wants to tell you, he's living in Maine right now. So what he's gonna do is he's gonna come down and do a whole weekend with me. That's amazing. And 67, 68, that area, man, that's a long time ago. What can I tell you? I'm getting old. Or I am old. Okay. How you doing with the 5-stroke roll, Joe? Good for you. Okay, Joe. Joe, have you ever worked with the 5-stroke roll? 7-stroke roll? Because I want to do a preliminary. Oh, by the way, Joe, the books are done. They're at the printer. I can't pick them up until I get a phone call, which would probably be maybe tomorrow or Thursday. Okay? Okay, so, all right, the 5-stroke roll, we'll work with it. I'll show you how to work it and develop it and to apply it to, say, a funk pattern or, say, the Chaffee ostinato patterns or cymbal patterns. But anyway, the books I will have. The price on the books, which includes shipping and handling, is $30. Hey, Randy, how are you? I'm sorry I didn't call you today. I got a little tied up. I got your payment for the book. Well, you could send me the money now, Joe. And when you do send it to PayPal, send it as a gift like Randy did. And Ricardo, we have to talk about it because the shipping to Brazil is going to be astronomical. So we'll work something out, okay? And thank you, Randy. And Joe, remember, when you send the money on PayPal, send it as a gift so they don't take any money out for me. Okay, so now the 5-stroke roll, it's not your best. Well, if it's not your best, what you need to do is work on it. And you need to, first of all, let's talk about the rudiments themselves. I don't know, what they have, 40 rudiments now? When I first started, there was 26. Everybody practices rudiments. Well, let me tell you, there's only 3 rudiments: singles, doubles, and flam. And when you play, for example, a 5-stroke roll, it's right, right, left, left, right. So it's a combination of a double and a single. So it's a hybrid. It's not going to cost much. What you need to do, Joe, is send me. I don't want to. I want to talk about the 5-stroke roll, but what you want to do, Joe, is email me tonight. Send me your address, and I'll ship you the book. But if you're when you pay PayPal, send it as a gift. It's $30. It's not going to be more. Trust me. Anyway, the 5-stroke roll and rudiments, and they changed the names now, I guess. Instead of a 5-stroke rough, it's a 5-stroke roll. It's a single 5, rather. I don't know why they do things like that. You got some guys, why they changed the name to single 5. It's a 5-stroke rough. That's how it is presented by Henry Adler in the Buddy Rich book. Okay? And Ed, how you doing? I just told everybody the books, I have to go pick them up either Thursday or Friday, and I'll mail them out. The book, the cost with the shipping and handling is $30. So what you want to do, pay PayPal, and when you pay PayPal, send it as a gift. Okay? Now, Ed, email me your address, your postal address, and I'll have it sent to you. Joe, the same thing. Okay. And Ricardo, you and I are going to talk about it because it's going to probably be more than $30 just to ship it to Brazil. So we'll talk about it, okay? We'll work something out so you have the package. Okay, so now, 5-stroke roll, the rudiments, there's only 3 rudiments. And, you guys can fight and talk, argue, and everybody practices their rudiment. There's 40 of them. There was 26, the first 13, the second 13, the 26. Okay? And that's ridiculous. There's, like I said, 3 rudiments. The single stroke, the double stroke, and the flam. And everything else is a combination of that. So when you combine something, it becomes a hybrid. So if I combine right, right, left, left, right, which is a 5-stroke roll. But that's a hybrid. Marcio, how you doing? Okay, so now, let's talk about ground zero or the basement or whatever you want to call it, the 5-stroke roll. What is it? It's 2 rights, 2 lefts, and a right. That's leading with the right. Then it switches the lead. It's left, left, right, right, left, and the accent is on the last stroke of the 5 strokes. Okay. Okay, so here we go. We're going to do, you might not have the Buddy Rich book, but that's okay. And we're going to put this in a formation. And we're going to put it in a 6/8 formation. 6/8, 6 beats to a measure. Each 8th note receives 1 count or 1 beat. So if I'm doing 6/8, just 1 measure with the right hand, it would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That was 1 measure of 6/8 notes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So now we're going to put a 5-stroke roll, excuse me, inside of that. And the object here is to do it slow. And then, doing it slow is to increase the speed as you go. But make sure you maintain the levels. And you want to make sure the sound is consistent. So it's right, right, left, right, and then it's left, left, right, right, left. Now there's a level in there. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now, if you have the Buddy Rich book, it's in there. Okay? That's the 5-stroke roll. Now, that's the first development. The next development, we're going to go and we're going to do it in 3/8. We're going to break it up into 2 segments. We're going to have 1, 1, and 2. I'm sorry. 1, and 2, and 3. And 1, and 2, and 3. And you practice that for 5 minutes, you're going to have a nice sounding 5-stroke roll. Then after the 3/8, 1, and 2, and 3. And 1, and 2, and 3. But look at the levels. It's tap, up, tap, tap, down. Tap, up, tap, tap, down. All right, so you have now 3/8, 1, and 2, and 3. And so that's 3 different formations. Now 2 we did. 6/8 and 3/8. Now we'll take it to 4/4. Okay? Now we're going to do it in 16th notes. 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4. That's basic. Now, that's going from 6/8 to 3/8 to 4/4. Now, I'm playing it at 16th notes to a quarter note. But we could play it 32nd notes to the 8th note. And I'll do it on the hi-hat, okay? So if I have 4/16, 1 E and the 2 E and the 3 E and the 4 E and the. So now to apply that, if I'm playing, for example, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1. Do we understand how I did that? And 1. Hey, Paul, how are you, sir? Where were you last night, Paul? You didn't miss anything. I was just fried. But that's okay. I'll explain the books later. So you have, if you're going to do marches, which we're not going to do unless you want to, what I want to do is just play. It's like almost a preliminary to what we're going to be doing with the patterns. All right, that particular 5-stroke roll or 7-stroke roll is not in the book that you're going to be buying. All right, it's something additional, and I will send PDFs on that. Okay? No problem. I'm just joking, man. So let's do that again. So if I'm playing 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1 and 1. Do we understand that? Yes? No? All right. Do you tell him I said hello? Tell Charlie Hunter I said hello. That's good, man. Was he inspirational with any of his knowledge, or they're all nice guys? We understand it. Is there a delay in that or something? Or am I? Is the video working okay? All right. So now, what we want to do, the next step, I mean, just work on the 6-stroke roll, 5-stroke roll. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Over and over again with a metronome. Do that for 5 minutes. You'll see it naturally appear now. Okay? Who's his drummer? Anyway, that's what we're going to be doing, the 5-stroke roll like that, all right? Now, the next segment, and this is about the book, the worksheet or the workbook that you're going to be getting. We're going to take the stick control book, and you're going to find this as you continually study. All the books out there, no matter what book it is, all comes from page 5, 6, and 7. And I'll go to my grave stating that, and I'll prove it. See, so what happens is, you know, they have all these copyright infringements and all this bullshit. Yeah, if you copy somebody's book, and you try to sell it, you have a problem. But the concept, the approach is the stick control book. So now we have two different ways to do this, to practice this. You can practice on the snare drum or the hi-hat. It's up to you. I'm going to demonstrate it on the hi-hat only because my snare drum is going to overpower the bass drum right now, and I don't want that to happen. So what we're going to do, we're going to take the stick control book. We're just going to run down this. 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a. Okay. And we're going to do line 1. And we're going to approach line 1, or interpret line 1 rather, as 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a. We're going to eliminate the lefts. So we have 1 E and a, 2 E and 3 E and a, 4 E and. Okay? So if I do that on top, 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a, 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 and a, 4 E and a, 1 E and a, 2. All of a sudden you got a disco beat there, or a funk beat, or whatever you want to call it. You understand it? Okay, now we maintain that pattern, 1 E and da. That's the first line of stick control book. And now we go to line 2, and we interpreted all the rights as the bass drum. So we have 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 and a, 1 E and a, 2 E and a, E and a, 4 E and a, 1 E and a, 2 E and a, E and a, 4 E and a. Line 3, 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E. Line 4, that was line 4, I'm sorry. Line 5, 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4. 1 E and a, 2 E and a. Now you see what I'm talking about? These patterns, the bass drum patterns all come from the stick control book. They get difficult because the sticking is going to change. All right? For example, now line 2, you're going to do the same interpretation, but you're going to do line 2 on the top. And now, because you're so accustomed to that right side, the left side comes into view, and it's going to be weaker. So now you have 1 E and a, 2 E and a. So I'm going to do this now. 1 E and a, 2. Left hand lead. And a 4 E. Right now, bass drum. 1 E and 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a, 1 E and a, 2 and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a. You got it? Now, I'm just using line 1 and line 2. But now, if you do line 3, 4, 5, or any one of those lines with that approach, you're going to get some funk happening. I mean, you do the paradiddle, it's the paradiddle ostinato. You do line 6. Line 6 is pretty happening. For example, I'll start line 6. Like 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E. And now bass drum. 1 E and 2 E and a, 3 E and, I'm sorry, 1 E and a, 2 E and. I can't even do that tonight. But you understand it, guys? That's where it comes from. Okay, now, 5-stroke roll. Work on it. There's all different kinds of formations, but right now, just be concerned about 30 seconds to the 16th. 1 E and a, 2 and a, 3 E and a, 2 E and a. Okay? Now, if you did that with line 2, you'd have the line 3 rather. 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1. You have a lot of fun with that. But the main ingredients is start with the 6/8. Okay, 6/8. Work it. I mean, it's boring, man. It's down to basics, man, but it's going to help you the most. When you were a kid, your mother said, eat all your breakfast. And you never did. Steady in time. Hey, how are you? You've been in Africa. Ah, you got some African drumming going on. I know Aaron. Aaron from Illinois. What's your last name, Aaron? I'm glad to see you too. I've been sending you PDFs, and I don't know if you ever got them, but the African beats, they're all tribal, and they're you know, it's ethnic. The African beats, the tribal beats, they all have a meaning. I don't know if you guys understand that. Like, for example, there's a certain rhythm being played when somebody was born. There's a certain rhythm being played when somebody passed on. A certain rhythm when somebody got married, when somebody was cheating on their wife. Okay. You on my mailing list there, Aaron? I guess, right? Steady in time. Okay, anyway. That's the 5-stroke roll. Would you like the journey into the 7 there, Joe? Or you just want to work with the 5? No problem, steady in time, or Aaron. Anyway, Joe, you want to hit the 7-stroke roll as opposed to the 5? I rather you stay on the 5, because we're going to be using that in a couple of days or next week sometime to add to the patterns that we've developed. Okay? If you want to work with the 7s, no problem. Also, you know, I completed this book a couple days ago. It's at the printers. Okay. The 7-stroke roll. See, all this stuff, the 5-stroke roll, the 7-stroke roll, is all stuff I learned when I was a kid. My first 2 books were The Haskell, which was boring as all hell, but it was a great book. As I progressed, I realized it helped me out a lot. And the Buddy Rich book. Now, there's a lot of controversy on the Buddy Rich book as to what I'm saying. There's only the 3 rudiments, but they're labeled, okay? All right. 7-stroke roll. You have the 5-stroke roll we did in 6/8. Now, the 7-stroke roll, we're going to do in 4/4. We're going to count 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. However, what you have to do, and it's very important, it's not about playing fast. It's about playing clean and training the hands to be in position to attack. That's what it's about. So, here we go. There's a lot of different variations I could play it in, but I'm going to play it in 4/4. I'm going to start with the right. It usually goes to one hand, but I'm going to alternate it. So I have 1 and 2, and that's 4. 3 and that's 6. Yeah, 1 and 2 and 3 and, I'm sorry, 1 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Slower. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. See that? Then to the left, to the right, left. Man, this thing sounds like shit. Sorry, thinking out loud. All right, you want me to slow that 7 down? Let me just loosen this up a little bit. $1,000 snare drum sounds like shit. It's not that I don't know how to tune it. Sounds a little better. Okay, the 7. We did it in 4. It's 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and slow it down. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now, we take it to the 16th note form. We have 1 E and, that's 4, 2 E and, that's 3 more, that's 7. So we have 1 E and, 2 E and. So we have 1 E and, 2 E and, 3 E and, 4 E and. In a playing texture, it'd be 1 E and, so I have now, on the E, I'm starting doubles. 1 E and 2. Was this endorsed, or should I say? Yes, I am. DW and Peisty. Great companies. I love the cymbals. Okay. All right, you understand the 7 in 30 seconds. 1 E and 2. 1 E and 2 E and 3. 3 E and 4 E and 1. We're going to do just the 5s and the 7s tonight. And I'm going to try to put a P. I'm sick of writing for a couple days now. I'm going to put the 7 and I'm going to put in the different formations, the 5 and the 7. And we're going to work with them with the stick control book. Like I said before, everything comes from the stick control book. And anybody disagrees with me, I'll prove it. No problem. As far as the order of presentation is concerned, well, that's where the individual concept comes in, but it all stems from the stick control book, period. Anybody have a problem with it? Call me. All right. Now, that's the 5-stroke roll, the 7-stroke roll, and the stick control patterns with doing the line 1 all the way through and interpreting all the bass drum patterns as written. We all understand that. Now, what I want to do is I'm going to be putting slowly this time, because there's going to be a lot of work from this booklet. I mean, it's going to be ridiculous. You guys are going to have to quit your day gigs. You're going to have to say, all right, get up at 7, practice until 4, have dinner, go back and practice, and go to sleep after that. And do the same thing every day. That's how much work there is, okay? Anyway, I will be writing a book. This is the first book. The book is entitled, it's a booklet, Matt Patella's Live Lessons, Workbook Number 1. I'm going to be working on Matt Patella's Live Lessons, Workbook 2. That Workbook 2 is going to be with the jazz patterns and the triplets. Then 3 will be with all the formulas. And like I said, I'm putting a book together, which is going to be Beyond Control. And all 9,000 ways, maybe 9,001, I didn't count them really, of the ways to do the stick control book. Now, again, let me reiterate what I said earlier for those who didn't come. The book lit, or the worksheet, or the workbook, whatever you want to call it, is the pricing on it is $30. That includes the shipping. All right, so if you're in Oklahoma, if you're in Massachusetts, you're in Florida or California, it covers it. Anybody who lives in Europe or South America, well, that's a problem. We're going to work it out so that you do get something, all right, like maybe just PDFs or whatever. Okay, now, I would, as soon as possible, send me the money. That would be $30. Send it to my PayPal account. Send it as a gift. When you send it, like Randy said before, you send it as if I were a friend or a relative, and they don't charge you. Otherwise, out of $30, they're going to take $3 or maybe $4. Okay. Now let me go back. So send it to me as soon as possible, like tonight or tomorrow or whenever. When I have the books, I have your payment, I will send you the book. How's that sound, gentlemen? And welcome home there, Aaron. You're in the Air Force, huh? Okay. African rhythms. Okay. Any questions on anything that we've gone over so far, like the 5-stroke roll, the 7-stroke roll, the stick control book with the foot patterns? Anybody want me to revisit that and slow it down or go over it? Yes? No? Okay. All right. All right, maybe tomorrow night we're going to do the samba. I don't want to go into any more of the patterns until we get the books. Okay? So, here's what we're going to do. We're going to interpret the stick control book as the samba pattern. We're going to do it two different ways. We're going to okay, it's nothing I wrote. It's just a workbook that the things we're working on. Okay, Aaron? I mean, I incorporated symbol patterns and ostinato patterns, and I used the stick control book and the Gary Chaffee book. So you visually see what you're doing with the various patterns. Okay, so we're going to work with the samba tomorrow evening. And now comes into view Alan Dawson. And those who are not familiar with Alan Dawson was the head of the percussion department at Berklee College of Music or School of Music or whatever it was called back at the time. And a couple of his students like Tony Williams and Vinnie Colaiuta, Steve Smith. Okay, be careful there, steady in time. That's Aaron, okay. Anyway, have a good night's sleep, be careful. All right, anyway, Alan Dawson was the drummer who replaced Joe Morello and the Dave Brubeck Quartet when they were having some problems or after 12 years of being together. But Alan Dawson, it was a great teacher. Joe, you're from Germany. Anyway, I learned this from the rudimental ritual, the interpretation of this. When I play a samba, I was always playing 16th notes, 1 E and the 2. So I'd have 1 E and 2. So now I take it down a step. All right. What I'm doing, instead of going 1E and 1E and the 2E and the 3, I'm going to be doing it like this. 1, 2, and 3. Slowing it down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Now, I'm going to look at the stick control book, and I'm going to look at line 1 and say, all right, rights, take a break. We're going to use just the lefts. All the hands. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Now line 2. 1, 2, 3, 4. Line 1. Line 2. 1, 1, 1, 2. Line 3. 4. 5. Ah! Now we're going to work on that, the interpretation of that tomorrow evening. Other than that, well, Marcio, I got to watch you at my cymbals now. You're in love with them, huh? Yeah, they sound really nice. I'm pretty fortunate because my former roommate for 5 years is a East Coast rep for Peisty. And he goes all over the place. God bless him, man. Love the guy. His name is Tim Shahady. He's always willing to help everybody. But anyway, any more this evening? Let me go over the payment for the workbook. Again, the cost is $30. And that includes shipping and handling, or handling with shipping or whatever. And when you send it to PayPal, send it as a gift. That means you're sending it to a friend or you're sending it to family. It's not a business transaction. Really? Okay, let me do that again. Ed? I'm surprised you can't hear that. Let me know if you can hear it now. What I'm doing, I'm going to do it slow. 1, 2, and 3. One, 2, 3, 4, 1. Can you hear it, Ed? Well, the hi-hat is this, 1E and 2. I normally play, that's more or less, I got that concept from Alan Dawson. 1, 2, and 3. So I got 1. You got it, Ed? Sorry about that. It's on the ride, but the hat is there. It's on 4. I'm going 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 1. It's a nice pattern. All right, we all got it. Okay, any questions? So when I open up my email in a half an hour, there should be some money from PayPal. And guys, email me your mailing address, please. Okay? I have Randy. I don't have yours, Joe, nor yours, Ed, nor yours, Paul. And Marcio, I don't have your email, period. And Aaron, he's in Africa. And who is that? Ricardo, you still there? Oh, man, come on. Computer. All right. Gentlemen, we'll see you tomorrow evening at 7 p.m. Okay, gentlemen? You guys have a good night. Don't forget, email me your postal address. Don't send money if you're not going to send me your address. I don't know where the hell to send it. Okay, guys? All right, Joe. Okay, Marcio. Ed. Randy, what's going on with my computer here? All right. Oh, this thing is driving me crazy all the time. I have 1, 2, 3, 4 computers in this studio. And everybody, they're all jealous because I use one more than the other. All right. You too, Paul, Randy, Ed, Marcio, and Joe. And whoever else was listening and watching, that's so nice of everybody. All right, tomorrow evening, 7 p.m. Have a good night, gentlemen.